Hello, everyone! Can you hear us? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I think so.
Awesome. It would seem that we have more people than usual, which is terrifying. And good, but also terrifying.
Xanthos.
Yeah.
Digital Hazard.
We got Xanthos,
Gaming
we got
Nerd.
Hazard, we got Cypher, we've got Gaming. Holy crap, that's a lot. Hello, everyone. It has been a while, but to make up for it, thankfully, in the time since we last had a Monspiracy episode, shit has not only gone down, it has also gone up, gone sideways, and gone where no shit has gone before.
Yeah.
So let me just get our setup properly set up. And as a little bit of a prologue to what we're talking about, despite having nothing to do with what we're talking about, we're first going to cover something that was released over at Digifest in the museum. Unfortunately,
okay.
it's not the prototype, even though I love the way that thing looks, and I need to get a BB shell that's designed to look like the original Digital Monster prototype, because goddamn, that thing was beautiful.
Yeah, that was super sick.
So, here we have the main forces and organizations of the digital world. Canon now. This is officially, directly from the source. And
From the mouth.
what this does confirm, as far as what we are aware of, we've got, one thing particularly of note is that Witchelney, over in this corner, they are not connected to Yggdrasil. They are on a separate server, which is interesting. We didn't have confirmation on that before, but we do now. On the subject of things that are definitely on Yggdrasil, we have the D Brigade and Bantio. We've got the Big Death Stars, which is apparently the name for the 7 Death Generals from Cross Wars when they don't include that evil version of Apollomon against his will.
Oh, okay.
We've got the Legend Arms, which apparently Armamon is not a Legend Arms, according to the list.
Wait, what?
But Ragnalordmon has been upgraded from being a Legend Arms associated Digimon to an official member.
Woo.
That technically means that Ragnalordmon has to have a weapon mode. What would
Shit.
Ragnalordmon's weapon mode be?
Just a giant hand.
Wait. Have you seen the abridged version of Try?
Yes.
It's the hand! It's the hand! I'm sorry, I have no higher resolution. This is as high resolution as I can make it. 3 Musketeers
Not really your
are here.
fault. I'm surprised this is considered high res compared to most Digimon art.
Yeah. I think they were talking about how low the poor. Yep, Xanthos. We do not fuck with the hand. There goes any hope of monetization in any kind of future. Not that I care, though. I am far away from those numbers. But, here we have, of course, the Crack Team in all their glory.
Oh boy.
So, we have...
AKA Digimon employed by humans.
Yes. No worries, Xanthos. We curse a lot on here anyway. We try to remember to wait like an hour or so that we don't need to worry.
I think it's like 30 minutes. Technically, the stream has been going on for 30 minutes, so we should be good.
Oh yeah, you're right. So, Oh, okay. I thought that like the size of the screen was making it difficult for you guys to see what it said. Sorry.
Oh, Espimon has been retconned into the crack team.
Technically, that's not a
Interesting.
retcon, as we only got Espimon's proper release after Digifest, so it's not really a retcon. It's more that the Digimon hadn't been properly.
They were just hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's cool.
Very interesting.
That's interesting.
Though, as
Yeah, especially because
if that's the case, that almost completely confirms our theory about Gamamon being crack team involved.
oh yeah, true. Because like it seems like Espimon was because I'm finally caught up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
not
it seems
caught
as
up,
if
by the way, but feel free to spoil.
oh shit. It's not a huge spoiler, but it seems like Espimon is looking for Hero for some reason. So he might have been sent either by Hero's dad, or he's just searching for Hero for some reason. But
Interesting.
it's very interesting. Yeah, it's very strange because
He spent
he's
this
like,
whole
oh,
time
where's
thinking it was Blacktailmon, Hoover, and Gamamon himself that were Hokuto's partner, but no, it was Espimon.
yeah, it's very weird because like Espimon, like he's like, oh, I'm looking for Hero, and then Hero's like, oh, that's me, and he's like, no, you don't look like him, and I'm like, what? So like I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if like we're getting into weird time travel shit, or because Hero wasn't in his school uniform, Espimon somehow didn't recognize him. I don't know. It's very
Or maybe
very
we're
strange.
dealing with the Back to the Future time loop scenario, and Hokuto is
Oh
older
my
Hero.
god.
Hero
Oh
is his
God.
own father.
Good, get into Ava territory again.
So, interesting thing about the crack team here. Boltmon is now canonically also has its technology appropriated into the original Cyborg 5. The original Cyborg 5 originally included Andromon. Andromon's been separated from that. Gigadramon is being placed into the Cyborg 5, which means that technically speaking, both Megadramon and Gigadramon are components of Mugendramon.
Interesting.
Originally, we just thought it was Megadramon and Gigadramon got added later, but this is implying that both of them were used in the development. The improved Chaos Dramon, and then outside, not connected to the original 5, we have High Andromon, Aegistramon, Metal Seedramon, and Giga Seedramon. And we won't focus on that too much because we have covered them before. But there are other things that we need to cover because, lo and behold, it's time to talk about the Ultimate Trash Lord.
Yay!
So, we have Huanglongmon over here. Very quickly, we have the 4 Great Dragons, which are a group even though them not having any kind of grouping.
yeah.
So, funnily enough, if you're looking for a Machine Dramon with wings, look no further than Chaos Dramon.
Does he have wings? I don't remember him having wings.
Yeah, they're not very clear because they kind of get covered up by the cannons when the cannons aren't deployed, but he does have wings. They're just more like plain wings than like dragon wings or something.
Huh.
So we've got our 4 holy beasts, which they state right here, 5 Digimon that have affixed themselves to the cornerstones east, west, north, south, and center to maintain the world's balance. We have classification of the Devas in accordance with their connection to each.
Has that ever been like confirmed before?
That's been confirmed before, but
Okay.
It's interesting that these guys are getting upgraded from their anime-only status that they had before, because we rarely ever hear about them.
I wonder if they're gonna fold this into something. I wonder if this will show up again soon.
I imagine that this is probably to some degree a roadmap of some kind, just so that whenever they get brought up later on, we have a point to fall back on, like, oh, these are the Digimon that are involved in that group. So they can say the group name and people will know what they're talking about.
which I mean they've already been doing before. We were just expected to know somehow. Like,
Yeah. But here's the interesting and very unfun for us part.
oh boy.
For each of the 4 holy beasts, 3 Digimon act as their personal followers and carry out their master's orders. This means that the Sovereign and the Deva have a fixed hierarchy system. Each set of 3 reports to 1 of 4, which all report to the center. That's a network.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, fuck.
Which means that which is terrifying, because we have to reconcile it with the 3 archangels and the angel army.
Oh god.
Which are emissaries of the kernel, or God's domain. The kernel also being the term specifically referring to the core component of a computer, which basically is like the equivalent of the brain for the nervous system. If the kernel goes down, your entire computer goes down. So the kernel is the linchpin.
Yeah.
So we have the Angel Army, which has access to and acts as the emissaries of the kernel. We have the 4 holy beasts and the Devas, which maintain the balance of the digital world, while also being the only group with an actual network hierarchy. And we have the Royal Knights, which are supposed to be the highest degree of security and report directly to Yggdrasil, which in many cases is referred to as a god. Which one of these groups actually is in control? Please someone tell me.
Yeah, like it's really weird because
I have been agonizing over a script on this since before episode 1.
Before they even told us this too. Like it's weird because like we were always told that like, you know, the Royal Knights, they're the big dogs.
No. See, here's the thing. We were told since the beginning that it was these 4.
Oh yeah.
Then Tamers comes along and adds these 12. Then we get to Frontier, and it's all about these bastards. And then halfway through Frontier, we get these.
Jesus Christ. And so it's like they're not the real leaders. We
You all
are.
thought that Xanadu's brain was going to be the one up in the atmosphere. Mine has long since passed by fucking Voyager 2 and said, on your fucking left.
Wow, this is some shit here, guys. Like, what the fuck? This is funny. Like seeing it all here, it's like, what is going on? Oh boy.
Cypher, don't even get me started on that. We cannot deal with that. We cannot deal with a full-on freaking Chaos Dukemon Megidramon scenario.
Oh god.
Not now, when we're dealing with the hierarchy and systems of the digital world. The only hope I have is something that lies over here with the 7 Great Demon Lords. These bastards are sealed in the Dark Area. They're explicitly said to be in Cocytus. Since they're in Cocytus, that implies that, like Cocytus, kernel has to be shared across digital worlds, which means kernel exists outside the host computers. The angels are above... Also, yes, please like the stream, but the angels are above Yggdrasil.
Weird.
Which means that if the angels are above Yggdrasil, then that would very heavily imply
Oh god.
or at least what I personally think, these bastards are hackers.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think that we have two canonical things that happened here. These bastards used the Tempest program to make these guys run wild. That's the plot of the twin. This Lucimon had a rebellion, which was stopped by the Warrior 10. Its powers were split among the three Archangels, and then it evolved into a fallen angel. That would imply that Lucimon, but we also have another thing. We know Lucimon is supposed to be the bastard who made Guanglongmon a trash lord.
Yeah.
That would imply that there was a point at which there was a conflict between Colonel and the Sovereign.
So you know what? Actually, no. You make a great point, because we know, like, according to like the most earliest of like documents on Digimon, the digital world itself was created by hackers, which could imply that, just like what you're saying, where the Sovereign are being controlled or being used by hackers to create the digital world, but then the Digimon themselves rebelled, and Lucimon was the leader of that rebellion.
The old guard, the old system, replaced by the digital world taking control over itself.
Oh shit. I like that idea a lot, because that explains a lot.
Computers, which have their own completely automated... Hold on, my division into host computers, the two of which listed here, have their own completely automated defense systems. And that is how we lost control over the digital world and our understanding of who was in charge of it.
Gotcha. Wow. I actually like this a lot. This makes a lot more sense compared to, I mean, well, we've never really been given an explanation, but this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Given what we know. And, like, given the fact that, like, Digimon doesn't really, like... Even though they sometimes, like, contradict themselves, they still never really retconned anything. Like, nothing ever, like, everything, even from the anime, even if it conflicts with what we know, it's still all together in some way. So this helps explain it a lot. Because we still have that importance of the Sovereign. They're still important. They're still, like, supposed to be top dog. But the reason why they're not, especially now, it makes sense. This gotta be, this has to be it. Like, this has to be the reason.
It has to
This
be.
definitely has to be the reason.
And
like, it makes too much sense.
A little tidbit before we move on to the actual focus of this episode. We're going to do an episode in the far-off future about the connection between the Warrior 10 and the Legendary Spirits and armor evolution. And all I will say on that front is, did you know that the Devas, very similar to the Four Holy Beasts, all have attendants for themselves? And all those attendants, which are often used as pre-evolutions for the Devas, as they are all perfect levels, none of them are actually champion level. All the Devas' preferred prevolutions are armor evos.
Interesting.
So, with that, we will shift focus onto... And now for something completely different.
Totally different, actually, really.
Yeah. We just talked about what actually went down in the digital world. Now to chuck all that out the window, because it's time to talk about what the heck even is a Digimon at this point?
Yeah, because, like, Survive is really, like, doing some shit. To put it lightly.
The reason... Okay, to give you guys a rundown on why it's been so long since we've had a Monspiracy, it's a combination of I had life stuff to deal with, Zan had con stuff to deal with,
Lots of con stuff.
and while I was writing this script, I had to rewrite it 7 times.
Oh my god.
Because of how many times I would be like, because it started out with, okay, let's just look at the 2 common interpretations of where Digimon come from and go from there. Then it wraps into something that has nothing to do with Digimon during the Survive hype, because Survive ties into some things that you wouldn't expect, and also Cyber Sleuth ties into some things that you wouldn't expect. Yeah. And then Survive comes out, and it goes so hard on those that I have to rewrite it another time.
And Survive goes, like, super hard with, like, what it's doing right now. It's very interesting. I still haven't beaten it yet. Have you seen the ending yet? Because I know,
I saw Air's ending.
Okay.
I have not played the game. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have not played the game myself because I am poor.
I bought it twice because I couldn't tell you why I bought it twice. I bought the Switch version because I would have played on the go, but like I haven't touched it yet. So.
All right, so let's get on to episode 5 of Monspiracy, Digital Monster or Kemonogami on the origin of Digimon. So, today's episode is about how both Habu-san and Hosada-san's works answer our question on the origin of Digimon. So, vague spoilers for our wargame, Summer Wars, Bell, the wargame trilogy as I call them from Hosada. The Cyber Sleuth duology and parts of Survive, because we will be talking about what Survive does to this. So that's our Habu. And Persona?
Here we go.
Here we go, everyone. So,
it's so cool!
Adventure. Where do Digimon come from? Because, God, I wish it was as simple as pointing to this picture and saying there.
Yeah.
Especially because, look at this picture. It's beautiful. I've looked at this for 6 hours now.
Like, overall, like, it wouldn't be too hard to recreate that. Like,
no, Xanthos is gonna make it! It really is beautiful. Alright, so, the virtual origin theory of Digimon. According to the official website and early documentation, one day, an artificially intelligent virus began to spread among the world's computers. It changed its shape and form as it traveled through the network and evolved into the life forms known as digital monsters or Digimon. The general idea is that Digimon were, at least at first, just programs that as time went on, evolved to become sentient, resulting in the virtual life forms that we know today, and developing new species as new data was incorporated. This is the assumption that basically this entire series has been operating on.
Yeah, we've done fucking 3 episodes on that already, I think.
We did 3 episodes on just the basics of it. Then we did more episodes on the structure of the digital world, which again is assuming that the virtual origin is correct, as we were treating the virtual world as a network, not a parallel universe. And that was a bit of a spoiler for our next part, which is the spiritual origin, aka the adventure origin, aka this show's least favorite origin.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of it being like an alternate world, but like divorcing it entirely from anything digital, I just find weird.
Which is precisely what To Survive is doing.
Yeah.
Actually, if I can give you a minor spoiler that has nothing to do with the plot about New Game Plus for Survive.
Oh yeah, go off.
There is an option for free battles called Parallel World Memories.
Ooh, interesting.
And when you actually go over that in the menu, it glitches out the entire UI of the map screen. Like an actual glitch effect. Like the kind of shit that would appear on the phones when you were looking for something. But not just on the phone, for the entire screen.
Weird.
So, personally, I think that by the time we get around to multiple routes in everyone's playthroughs, Survive's gonna end up being a Doki Doki Digimon Club.
Oh my god. Every copy of Survive is personalized.
Yep. So, the spiritual origin. The worldview of the adventure anime was entirely different.
Yeah.
Oh, neat! The moral ending explains it. That'll be interesting to look forward to then. I believe Air's doing the moral ending on his New Game Plus playthrough right now.
Apparently,
so
I'm on the moral route.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, according to because I mean spoilers. We already said there's gonna be spoilers, so I won't go. I won't be too nervous about it. But I got Triceramon as my ultimate, and apparently that puts me in.
Yes.
Yeah, I was super hyped. I was like, "Wait, who the fuck is that?" And then it, like zoomed out, and it was Triceramon. I was like,
"Nice."
It was hard to be hype at that moment, but that helped, you know.
Yeah. Oh right, you get perfect in chapter 5, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Like right after fucking crunch. Right after the crunch.
Yep. I mean,
like,
we did say spoilers, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. Lopmon was justified.
Oh no, absolutely. Lopmon, like, I was about to kill him myself. So
yeah.
You know, Lopmon's totally justified. I just felt horrible. Really for Lopmon. Yeah. That's really it. I was like, oh, poor Lopmon. Yeah, it's yeah, that was something. That was something.
Yeah. Oh man, that was great though. Like I actually got to see Air's reaction to that live. Oh no, Hazard, were you not ready for that? Hazard's behind, I just remembered. I'm sorry!
Oh shit. My bad. Fuck, I thought Hazard was on 5 by now. Shit, my bad.
We're sorry, Hazard! We did not put enough spoiler warnings, but our bad. But to get to the to get back to what we were saying on the origins, so here I'm taking this directly from Ravel's blog, specifically the post Trying to Understand Digimon, which will be linked in the description. Not knowing what to do with this, Habu asked Kakudo, I think is how, I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm sorry, I butchered that. But that is the director, I believe, of Digimon Adventure.
Yeah.
What image the digital world had. Instead of a world really existing inside computers, he had an image of being a world that is just being currently recognized through digital gadgets, and that's why the monster is called Digimon. Therefore, in old times with Onmyodo, they might have been recognized as yokai, yurei, shikigami, or similar things. However, they had various forms as their understanding of them changed, and are now currently being understood as Digimon. In short, this is the kind of vibe that Survive has when you're looking at gameplay from that.
Absolutely, especially considering, like, you know, like, it's not.
It's a game, despite being a Digimon game, they say the word Digimon is a total of once.
Wow, they always say it once?
From what I've heard, it only gets mentioned once.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
they have not mentioned it yet in my playthrough. But, I mean, it is an interesting way to look at it because, like, it's not entirely divorced from, like, what's the word? It's not entirely divorced from like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? From like, I guess
the digital
like,
side of Digimon.
yeah, it's like, you know, like everyone's getting these weird messages on their phones. There are certain things that are only visible when you point like a digital camera at it. So like there is that, but I just I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the whole like not originating thanks to the internet or something. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like I'm with it and not with it at the same time. It's very strange.
Yeah. Like, for me personally, I am not the biggest fan of the no connection to the internet origin. But I was hyped for Survive, basically talking more about that origin, like fleshing it out more.
Yeah.
So the nebulous issue that we kind of have when discussing this is that many entries in the franchise will choose one origin, only to mix in world-building elements that are completely at odds with them.
Like, kind of like Tamers, because Tamers kind of does the same thing, where like kind of picks and chooses.
100%. See, a lot of entries involve a person or group being spirited away to the digital world, adventure, to a degree O2, part of Tamer's plot towards the end, Frontier.
Yeah, Frontier. Data Squad kind of does it too.
Yeah. Or on the flip side, they'll have the Digimon quote unquote realize even when they're explicitly from a computer network. So, Tamers in particular is explicitly entirely digital, but still has the possibility for people to completely become digital and digital beings to become completely physical. On the flip side, series with a far more spiritual tone still rely heavily on computer concepts, such as Frontier's world being composed entirely of digicode or fractal code. And the basic structure, those are the basic structure, and each Trailmon stop is a terminal, not in the sense of a train station, but in the sense of a computer terminal.
Yeah.
The only kind of exception we've had so far to this happening is Survive itself, because while Survive incorporates aspects of the digital, it explicitly takes from Habu's understanding of a world that we now recognize through the digital. Which is why it has the digital aspects toned down but still present in ways like perceiving things, or receiving information from sources that haven't been there for like centuries. Survive is the outlier. Yeah. So, first, we're going to go with... So what we're going to do is basically we're going to look at Hosada, the creator of our wargame, and kind of try to analyze his thoughts on the world building, kind of, as our wargame in and of itself is a very our wargame itself is a very it's a very non-spiritual entry, despite being part of the franchise that started the more spiritual entries.
Yeah.
So, our wargame is pretty much the quintessential Digimon anime. This is the one that we think of when we think Digimon. This is the
pretty
one
much
Bandai thinks of when they think Digimon.
Yeah. I mean, they still reference it to this day. I mean, the background
Literally,
of the verses.
the Vital Bracelet Lab has you fighting.
Yeah.
On there. Hello, Half Draggy! But yeah, so our wargame, it's the quintessential Digimon anime. The plot is quite simple. A Digiegg hatches on the internet rather than in the digital world. As such, grows at a significantly faster rate due to being able to access infinite data. And because it was born on the internet, it also has no sense of morals. So, this incredibly, seemingly, in the Japanese version, almost childlike entity becomes incredibly powerful, incredibly quickly, and nearly annihilates the entire world with not understanding what it's doing. And yes, Cypher, you're right. Like, literally, the 2020 anime began and ended with a redo.
Oh yeah, like a redo.
Yeah. And yeah, Caramon was basically born on 4chan. So, what's interesting about those?
Oh, videos for you?
Okay, that's...
Yeah. And yeah, the real origin of Digimon, according to Kotaku, is that Pokemon, it was copied and pasted from Pokemon, despite them both releasing in the same year and there totally not being enough time to develop a virtual pet based on a video game that hadn't come out yet. Yeah. Don't worry, Half-Draggy. We've all dunked on Kotaku enough that it hopefully will just cease to exist. It will continue to exist, unfortunately, but no one will believe in it. So, I imagine everyone here is at least somewhat familiar with the aesthetic of our wargame. Oh yeah, I guess they have copied Behemoth now, haven't they? Yeah. So, our wargame's aesthetic, you've seen it before. It's this. It's the literal cyberspace where you have floating systems like this, basically. No real sense of gravity, everyone and everything is flying around, the Digimon fight in this kind of open space. Platforms and items kind of spawn and disappear at will. There are very clear terminals that connect there are very clear, like, passageways that serve as connections between two different terminals or points. What's interesting about this is that Hosada-san ended up... no, currently Xana is, having some non-technical difficulties, but...
Sorry, I gave up and got DoorDash while my brother was bringing it in.
Nice. So yeah, the interesting thing is, everyone used to kind of clown on Hosada because, the movie Summer Wars is near identical to the plot of our war game.
Yeah, I'm surprised he calls it a sequel, because it's practically a shot-for-shot remake.
It is very much a copyright. It is very much a copyright distinct our war game. But what's interesting about it is how, while the plot beats and the shots very much can be seen as the same, the characters and the way they actually interact with the plot is entirely different. And it's in that you kind of pick up on why he sees it as a sequel, especially in the context of having watched Bell, which is that our war game is about the internet in the 90s.
True.
Summer Wars is about the internet in whatever the heck the year was when everyone had a DSi.
I want to say like the early 2010s or the late 2000s.
Yeah. Around then. And Bell is about the internet now, where you have people with VTuber models becoming content creators.
Yo. They just like me for real.
Just like me for real. I genuinely think that if we get another Yeah, Belle's basically set in a version of VR chat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly like me. So, basically, each entry in the Wargame trilogy, as I call it, until it becomes a quadrilogy or whatever the heck it's called when there's 4 of them. Tetralogy?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe? I don't know. But but anyway, the common theme is the movie will have a snapshot of the way that quadrilogy. Thank you. The movie will serve as a snapshot of the way people interacted with the internet at the time it was made.
I love that.
It's awesome.
Like, people don't,
So they feel
people
very
don't
similar
give-
to each other, and they feel almost similar enough that they could be set in the same world. Because they are a timeline of that parallels our own progression over time.
And I mean, nothing really inherently, like, it doesn't really clash. Like, they could take place in the Digimon universe. Like, it's totally possible.
Exactly.
Because, like, especially with what we know now, like the way that 2020 did it, we're like, the digital world is separate from our internet. It just was able to kind of come over thanks to our network. We're like, it's still this separate, like, kind of server, essentially. So, like, these movies could totally be taking place in the same universe. I mean, it's still in Japan. The internet's still an important part. And, I mean, you could argue that, like, the main bad guy in our war game is a Digimon. It's an unknown being.
See, here's the thing. I have evidence.
Oh, okay.
So, first off, as we just mentioned, all 3 focus on the way people use the internet at the time and how it's changed since the previous movie. They also specifically hone in on how the internet connects people together. Summer Wars and Belle both use avatars for the humans, like any real-life cyberspace. But they reflect the characters in a way that is very reminiscent of the soul reflection concept used in Adventure. And a specific aspect of the Adventure side of the Origin is how the partners are often meant to reflect almost be like a mirror reflection of their human counterparts.
Yeah.
And specifically in Belle, the avatars are automatically generated from some kind of scan of the user that very clearly actually reflects the mental state of the user and even update the current one while they're logged in. Despite these later 2 movies having no supernatural elements to them, they definitely feel as though they are literally an Agumon away from fitting into practically any Digimon setting, particularly due to the way they represent AI. Love Machine from Summer Wars is depicted in the same kind of cruel but childish manner that Caramon is, except feeling even more mechanical, reflecting its truly artificial nature. It feels like what happened if you let a Hagurumon loose on 4chan.
Jesus Christ.
Whereas the dragon from Belle has AI companions that display playful and kind personalities that are eager to meet new people in a similar manner to any baby Digimon. Which is even reflective of that character. If you see the movie, you'll get what I mean. So Hosada's stuff basically boils down to, despite being directly connected to the adventure concept, feels significantly more virtual Origin. What do you mean, what would Lilithmon do if let loose on the internet? How do you think we got Lilithmon? We got Lilithmon from the internet.
I think that's canon, isn't that canon?
I don't know if it's canon, but I have always subscribed to the theory that the reason we have so many high-scoring feminine Digimon is precisely. Wait, what did I say?
Oh shit! What?
I said what now? Half Draggy, there is a spoiler warning on this. There's a spoiler warning on this VOD. Please give more information. As long as that's all right with you guys.
I think I think Half Draggy's mentioning the whole soul thing, the soul reflection thing, because I believe that's what also Survive is operating on.
Oh yeah, well, Survive has been said to be operating on that. But Half Draggy, if you have more to elaborate on that or clarify, please do, so long as no one here is against that clarification being made. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I've just gotten a ping. Wait, no. That's just my Discord being a pain.
I just love, like, I would think it would be so funny, in my opinion. I don't know how we would be able to work this in. Maybe like in another story game if we had like a more like side quests. Mm-hmm. I would absolutely love if they worked in like Lilithmon or one of the sexy Digimon like becoming like either a VTuber or like a streamer, and like nobody knows they're a Digimon because like it's like one of the humanoid ones.
You need to finish Cyber Sleuth, my dude.
Oh well, fuck me. Okay, and I didn't finish Cyber Sleuth then. Okay. Alright, keep that in mind.
Oh, the mirror image thing,
is
yeah.
how they explain the partners later in the game with specific mural before the final boss. Oh, wow.
Ooh, interesting. So yeah, speaking of which, we've just brought up the two sides of Habu's thoughts, which are the Cyber Sleuth duology and Digimon Survive.
Woo!
Oh yeah, the Athena side quest. That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll get to that.
I gotta finish
that's wait. It's not even. There are actually a couple. There's the Athena side quest, which is more just a Digimon using chat rooms, if I remember correctly. And then there's actually a plot. There's actually a main plot case in Hacker's Memory that explicitly is dealing with a VTuber.
Oh my god.
And that
Kizuna Ai was already a thing by the time.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, she's been around. She was around for a while.
Okay, I was just saying, like, did Habu accidentally like fucking create VTubers? Like, is this man that ahead of the curve?
It would have been absolutely freaking hilarious if a Digimon was the first concept of a VTuber. I can't imagine that's the case, but it would have been amazing. So Habu's thoughts mostly amount to the spiritual origin, as even in the CS duology, the digital shifts are a digitalization of paranormal phenomenon, which appear undigitized in the game fairly frequently. The Occult Research Club isn't that far off the mark. However, as the focus of these games are on hackers and the concepts from the earliest era of Digimon, they still have a very virtual origin feel to them. And again, Ravel's post on the interview where I got this information about what Habu's thoughts are on different things is linked in the description. Go read Ravel's stuff. They are the basis of this entire series.
Yeah, Ravel is the GOAT.
The GOAT. So, which is it?
Both.
Both is good.
Both is good.
No, really. Why can't it be both? Here are some reasons why things are about. Here are some reasons why our brains have already long passed the edge of the known universe. First off, the nervous system, it can essentially be considered a biological computer. The brain of that hypothesis has been around forever. Which basically states that rather than actually seeing or experiencing the things that you do, your brain is just interpreting signals from your body like a robot interprets signals from a camera. This is specifically, this is why an electric shock is capable of restarting the heart. Not to mention the fact that human vital data has already been integrated into Digimon taming systems.
If anyone's wondering for that moment, if anyone was waiting for, like, take a shot or something, take a shot now. That just blew my fucking mind. You're right. Like, I keep forgetting... I keep forgetting how important, like, I think, like, two of the biggest linchpins in, like, almost every fucking episode is either Virgin Saturn or the Vital Brace.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, every time either of those come up, I'm just like, oh, fuck. You're right, dude. Damn. Like, I'm literally wearing the Vital Brace right now, and you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, our vital data literally is being used to feed our Digimon now. We don't need to feed them meat anymore. We just give them that. We are giant computers, practically.
And particularly of note, did you know that ghost hunters are known to use electromagnetic fields in order to detect ghosts using the exact same principle?
You know, I used to be really, really big into, like, ghost hunting and ghost shows like that.
So
and for some reason...
So if that's the case, I'm sure you're aware of those classic video game creepypastas about haunted cartridges for systems like the Sega Saturn.
Oh my fucking god! Twice! Twice! God
like I
damn.
said, stories of haunted technology are rampant. I know it has nothing to do with the suggestion I just made. Oh yeah, sharks can also feel the slight electromagnetic signals made through muscle contractions. Thank you for that very helpful tip, Cypher.
That's terrifying. That's good to know. That's how sharks know you're swimming in the water. It's fucking horrifying.
Remember, if a shark,
as if I didn't need any more reason.
If you encounter a shark while you're swimming, remember the easiest way to get away from a shark is to grab its face and then rotate it so it's pointing towards the sand. This will reset the shark's the shark's balance systems and prevent it from actually coming after you until it recalibrates.
Is that dead ass?
That is legitimately a thing. Just look up the get rotated meme.
Get rotated? Get rotated, idiot.
Yeah.
I would
that is literally the meme. It's literally like a shark swims up to a diver, the diver grabs the shark, turns it so that its nose is pointing towards the sand, and then the meme is just like, get rotated, idiot.
I love the idea. Like, I've always heard, like, just you punch it in the nose.
Oh yeah, punch it in the nose. That's where the sensor is, basically.
Oh, okay. Because, like, I don't know, God forbid I ever get attacked by a shark. I think if I actually end up doing something other than screaming and fucking kicking around, I'd probably punch it before trying to move it around.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go toe-to-toe with a fucking shark if I met my life, I'm telling you that much.
Yeah. See, I'm not particularly scared of them because I grew up very close to an aquarium, which basically was like, sharks aren't your enemy. They're actually pretty freaking dumb. Just rotate them.
Just rotate them or punch them in the face.
Rotate the idiot.
One or the other.
Yeah. And we actually, the aquarium that's really close by to where I live is... Oh yeah, they do develop an attachment, but the interesting thing is that, the aquarium that I live near has a massive shark tank and a cage for lowering people into the shark tank.
I don't know if I'd ever do that. That's terrifying.
Okay, but see, here's the cool part. That massive... So the entire aquarium has, like, an Atlantis theme to it. So the tank...
that is cool.
That has... Like, so the shark tank has false ruins of, like, ancient Greek temples and, like, statues and shit. So when you go in the cage, you don't just see sharks swimming around you. You see sharks and everything else they have living in that tank, which all live together fine because they're properly feeding everything and none of them are prey-predator relationships. And you get to see all of it firsthand as if you are exploring the ruins of Atlantis.
Whoa, that's actually kind of cool.
It is so cool.
That's also one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's something about that kind of stuff that just terrifies me.
So yeah, haunted technology, rampant. So, a Digimon is a spirit that can be seen by and interface with and generally mess with technology? Or is it a living program that can manifest seemingly supernatural virtual phenomena. To which we must ask the question, what's the difference?
Yeah, that is true. That's practically the same fucking thing.
It is practically the same fucking thing. This entire stream is being held together entirely by the fact that I have my phone plugged into my computer and Imperial Dramon Paladin mode on my phone.
It is, and there hasn't been a single hiccup, so...
There has not been. There has been a total of, 2 screw-ups in the actual system since I started leaving my phone... Since I started leaving my freaking VB phone connection thing open when I was streaming. So, particularly of note, there are many Digimon with mythological or religious symbolism. For example, my 2 partners, Sheepmon and Shroudmon, both take inspiration from the religion and mythology of Hinduism. So, some Digimon have designs influenced or drawn from mythology, folklore, or religion. Is this the result of those beings being visualized by Digimon capture? Or is it possibly the result of those stories and beliefs being turned into data by being stored on computer networks and then being incorporated into the digital core?
We're back at the... Is there a difference?
Yeah, is there a difference?
Corporate wants you to find the difference between these 2 pictures.
Yeah, literature. There's plenty of literary references there, too. Gaming Nerd, we do not talk about the Mugendramon incident.
Oh my god.
So, let's take this a step further. A step outside the digital realm. It's time to talk about Persona.
Oh boy.
Now, for those of you that aren't aware, Persona is a spin-off of the larger Shin Megami Tensei series. Shin Megami Tensei is basically considered the mother of all mon-genre games. But particularly of note, there is another spin-off called Devil Survivor, for which the same artist created the artwork for both Devil Survivor and the Cyber Sleuth duology. And the gameplay of Devil Survivor is basically that of Digimon Survive.
Oh.
Yeah. The actual plot is very different, but the structure of visual novel where you use a menu to explore a set map kind of area, it doesn't have the phone aspect that Survive does, but otherwise, very similar gameplay loop. The combat is, again, very similarly turn-based strategy, except it's a Megaten game, which means it is hell on earth. You set it to the easiest mode, and then you're playing Dark Souls 3.
Those difficulty curves in Megaten games are no fucking joke.
There is no... It's insane. So, particularly though, we're talking about the Persona series. Settings with the soul reflection concept for partners very closely reflect the Persona series premise, which basically maintains that there is a collective unconscious which takes the form of a cognitive world. And as a result of this, people who interact with the cognitive world are basically able to manifest the kind of role that they personally, like a kind of reflection of their own soul called a persona, which essentially allows them to fight and properly interact with the cognitive world. Sounds really similar to a Digimon partner and the digital world, doesn't it?
It's kind of scary how close they are.
The growth of the self and personal resolve affect not only the discovery of the monster or power, but directly affect and actively change it.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
This concept isn't particularly hard to apply to the virtual origin anyway. The primary way we interact with digital monsters is in the form of taming systems, virtual pet programs. Their development is already a reflection of the tamer in the way they were treated.
Oh my god.
Also, Namco published the first Megaten game on the Famicom. No, really, look it up.
Yeah, that was crazy. You mentioned that and I was like, wait, what?
Yep. Currently, Megaten, which is owned by Atlas is owned by Sega, and Sega and Bandai get it on all the time.
All the time.
Literally. Literally go play Cyber Sleuth. You can see the freaking Sega arcade that they recently closed down. They didn't actually close it down, they just rebranded it.
Oh yeah, which is, I hate that name. What is it called again? Like,
I don't even know, because it's not as iconic as the Sega arcade.
Like it's like their new parent company.
Yeah. But next we're going to talk about particularly how the internet can reflect the idea of a cognitive world. As the internetwork is both an Akashic record and a collective unconscious. So, Akashic record. It is a theoretical concept which is a compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, and emotions and intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future in terms of all entities and life forms, not just human. In short, if virtual life forms exist, the internet is the closest thing we have to an Akashic record, as it is a massive hub of information constantly being added to, constantly getting new perspectives, constantly recording everything. And this is going to get a little bit morbid, but if a person records a YouTube video, and that person then there is a saying that says you die twice. First, when you take your last breath, and second, when no one remembers your name. We live in an era where a person can upload a YouTube video to an account, even just one time in their life. And that will ensure that they are remembered for eternity by the larger system. Unless a system comes through and prunes them out. And even if that happens, so long as it is recorded by the archive, because archive.org does not let anything slip through their fingers.
Yeah.
There is nothing that is literally, there is no way for anything to be forgotten anymore. The Akashic record is even referenced in Ancient Wise Month's encyclopedia entry, which means the digital world has one. Because the digital world is a part of one. And if you thought that was bad, it's time to talk about the collective unconscious.
Oh boy.
This is a term coined by the psychologist Carl Jung, who basically, if you want to know how, basically the entire point of his work is to take a look at Sigmund Freud and be like, you're an idiot. Which means it is a very fun thing to look into. But the collective unconscious, in his words, and the essential thing, psychologically, is that in dreams, fantasies, and other exceptional states of mind, the most far-fetched mythological motifs and symbols can appear autochthonically at any time, often, apparently, as a result of particular influences, traditions, and excitations working on the individual, but more often without any sign of them. These primordial images, or archetypes as I have called them, belong to the basic stock of the unconscious psyche and cannot be explained as personal acquisitions. Together they make up that psychic stratum which has been called the collective unconscious.
Oh.
To translate that into layman's terms, so it doesn't sound like I'm talking directly out of a rear end, basically the idea is that there are a set of collective ideas or archetypes, character concepts if you want to call them that, roles essentially, that exist within the human mind and are shared across everyone. So when you have these motifs show up, they become instantly recognizable. Like how the internet is capable of deconstructing an entire literary work in the span of seconds. Information that has been boiled down to its most bare bones concept. We literally have documentations of tropes after tropes after tropes. We have spark notes, we have TV tropes, we have Wikipedia even.
Yeah, wiki, yeah.
We have the individual fandom wikis of practically every franchise you could possibly imagine. And what does that data become? We get things like Magna Kidmon, and we have things like Revelmon and Magna Kidmon, basically serving as the embodiment of the concept of a Western gunner. And Billy the Kid. We have things like the 7 Great Demon Lords, which embody concepts from both the concept of the 7 Deadly Sins and parts of the Goetia of the Lesser Key of Solomon, which no one even knows what the Lesser Key of Solomon even is anymore. You have to play Fate to have an idea of what the fuck the word Goetia means. Hey, Trax.
Trax, what's up?
So yeah, basically, the internet is a massive collective unconscious. If you are born in an era where you have access to a smartphone, the entirety of the knowledge of the known world is at your fingertips. And you get you literally have access to everything anyone before you up until the point where the internet was created and made available to the public has ever thought. You have access to the basic concepts both of your generation and every generation prior, and get to watch the basic concepts of the next one form.
My head hurts.
Go away, you stupid antivirus. Go away, you stupid antivirus software.
Go away.
I already have a vaccine. It's called Imperial Dramon Paladin mode. Yeah, definitely check out the VOD. This is a big one. So,
no, this is, yeah.
So, the internetwork. So, both of these concepts align pretty well with the internet as we know it. Which means that whether digital monsters are a virtual life form or the visualization of spiritual entities, the internet both conceptually and literally conflates the two. It is entirely possible that Digimon actually are both. There are Digimon that come from one origin and Digimon that come from the other, and it doesn't matter because the internet makes them the same damn thing.
Oh my god! Holy shit! Oh my god! Wow.
So, we create our own demons. Be they spirits, software, or something in between, digital monsters remain functionally the same. For all intents and purposes, the definition of a modern Digimon is a virtual entity that can interface with digital technology from the inside, can interact with each other, and benefit from a partnership with humans. Fiend.
Now I know you had to rewrite this 7 times.
Yeah!
Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. So now the new question is, are they digital or are they like ghosts? And the answer is
Yes,
Ooh.
The answer is yes.
The answer is just, well, yes.
But actually, yes.
Man. I love the fact that it's just like... The answer is also yes, but also like, who cares? It's the same. Because someone mentioned earlier, I think I might have been half tracky, but someone mentioned the fact that Ghost Game has been kind of taking advantage of this idea that it is both.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in the most recent episode, did you see the Manticoremon episode?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that the most recent episode and the Manticoremon episode kind of tie in real ghosts.
Yeah, like real ghosts are possessing the Digimon, which implies that they're essentially one and the same in some weird way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything we have in terms of ghost hunting and like research into ghosts basically being formed upon the basis of the electromagnetic field and biological computer theory also very heavily implies that if spiritual entities are basically composed of a virtual or otherwise electromagnetic force, then beings composed of a virtual or electromagnetic force would be able to combat them directly.
Yeah. Damn.
That means that rather than needing an exorcist the next time you find yourself with a case of demonic possession, just keep your vital brace on. You'll be fine.
It'll possess the Digimon instead.
No, it won't possess not even that. The Digimon's already bound to you, so as long as you have faith in your partner, a demon will try to attack you, and then all of a sudden, it will just poof, and you've got an NFC battle on your vital brace. You click the button, and you just see the Digimon that represents its strength in terms of its power, and then you have to reconcile the fact that fucking Lucifer himself is nothing but a freaking Pulsemon. Which will make our lives infinitely more scary, because that implies... Well, you shouldn't be coming to a freaking exorcism with a Bodemon on your wrist.
That's crazy. This is definitely been one of my more like this is like top 5 episodes for me, even though it's only been 5. Because this is nuts. This is like
this is insane.
Because this is something that's been on my mind. This has been something that's been on my mind for a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because of Survive, but also like because of Ghost Game. It's kind of weird because I know like Survive's been in development for like 4 years. The story must have. I'm pretty sure the story was one of the first things that got done.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for Ghost Game to also kind of use these ideas, and for them to come out in the same year. It's really weird to me. Like it's so weird. Like,
yeah,
it's just like a really weird coincidence because like, you know, Survive again is really heavily leaning into the idea that it's like a parallel world to our own. It wasn't created by the network or by hackers or anything like that. It just always existed. And then like again with Ghost Game, where like, you know, just the idea in general, like where people think that they're ghosts. They call them hologram ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
It's later on that we find out, no, they're actually Digimon from the digital world. And I mean, we still haven't even seen the digital world yet. We've seen, like, one thing that really pissed me off. Not a spoiler. But I think this is intentional. I think they're keeping us in the dark about this. In the most recent episode, they do that thing where they use their DIM cards to, like, go into, like, a simulation of the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyoshiro almost gives it a name, but he gets cut off. Like he was like, "Oh, Hero must have activated." Oh my god! Like he didn't finish the sentence, and I'm really mad about that because I want them to explain that. I'm hoping they will explain it eventually. But that's another thing that's like we haven't really seen the digital world yet, so we don't know if it's like how we see it, where it's like, is it a copy? Is it going to be something completely different and brand new? Is it like in Survive, where it's constantly changing depending on like the outside world? Like I don't know. It's very interesting.
That's the thing that like solidified the Persona Con idea to me. It's the way. It's like the way that Survive's version of the Kemonosekai changes so quickly. Buildings appearing out of nowhere between days.
And not just that, but I mean even like when we were in and what like where I left off in chapter 5, when you're in the underground waterway, it is quite literally changing as you're in it. Like while you're going through it, it is changing and rearranging itself and getting rid of parts and adding parts. Like it's literally like a living
Labyrinth.
Like document almost. Yeah.
It is
and even
currently
like
being edited Google document.
Pretty much, because like somebody like even in like some of the the best term I could put is like Ansem Secret Diaries that you pick up. One of them mentioned the fact that like literally like the earth beneath them is changing while they're walking. Like it's literally like constantly changing and evolving. It's very weird. It's very interesting.
So Cypher, the summoning circle thing and proper procedure, that is literally the plot of the original Mega 10 games.
I was gonna say, yeah, Mega 10
is literally that they took demon summoning rituals and they virtualized them, and because they virtualized them, they could keep the demons inside the computers.
And then also like control them.
Yeah.
Which has to be the main inspiration for the Digimon Capture and the Digivices. / VPets.
Digimon Metaverse, I can tell you that, do you mean like Metaverse as in like a virtual world? Or do you mean like Metaverse as in like a multiverse or something? Because Digimon Multiverse, as far as I'm concerned, the fiction is all just simulations run by different host computers. Or by Yggdrasil itself.
Oh yeah, it is like a bubble. You're right. I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, there's that episode where it's the projection.
Because there's a it's
Digimon
like a
Second Life. Just go play World with a Zero. That's basically what that is.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just not in 3D. But who needs 3D? Sprite art is better. Spoken as someone who is currently sprite art and may or may not be looking into getting a 3D Vtuber model.
Jesus. Sprite art is bad. I like sprite art a lot.
Yeah, I do like sprite art. I like sprite art a lot, especially as someone whose favorite Pokemon game was Gen 5.
Oh, Gen 5 is so good.
So good. Like, if I could have anything in the world, it would be, that Bandai decides that they make a Digimon MMO, but they decide to make it using like Pokemon Gen 5 as the means of as the actual
like the
style.
look. That'd be cool. There is that new old RPG, I guess, because it's a relaunch, like the Digimon RPG, that new one, like isn't that like
relaunch of the Tamers?
Yeah. But like, I still haven't been able to find a lot of videos on it. So like, is it like a remake? Is brand new, or is it just like
I think it's
the
just
same game?
Bringing it back.
What?
I've also heard that it never actually went down in wherever it was before.
Oh.
So they're just reopening it for English-speaking audiences.
Oh wow! So it's like a 20-something-year-old MMO that you can just go back and play now. Wow!
And it may or may not be just as
jank as it was.
DMO. it may or may not be just as jank as DMO.
Yeah, because I know like DMO's adding the Ghost Game kids and like Gamamon. I actually think they by this point they've added them.
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded DMO back when I was getting back into Digimon, like 10 or so years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't grab me.
Yeah,
So
same.
I'm not
Literally same.
like somebody was like, "Oh my god, like are you excited for this? Are you gonna show off on the channel?" I was just like, probably not.
The Vital Hero is both literally and canonically a localization of the Digivice V. So the Digivice V, as a taming system, is brought over for a wider release in English-speaking territories, thus being called the Vital Hero, and utilizing a different modified set of Digimon capture data, which resulted in Dinosaur Roar and Wolf Howl.
And not only that, but it could still work into the lore, whereas like, I think that was our first episode is where we talked about how like the Vital Brace is most likely like in lore them trying to get Digimon in as many people's hands because something is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're pretty much either witnessing the creation of DATs or we are all being folded into DATs unwillingly or unknowingly. Well, really both.
I mean,
especially
something that is particularly clear is now that we're finally getting PvP, our previous system, prior to PvP being the focus, was all about massive threat level Digimon that we had to cooperate to defeat.
Mm-hmm.
And only now are we getting a proper system that can test who the top tamers are. Specifically ones who are taming at least 2 Digimon.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
They are tag battles. Which very heavily implies that there is a need for tamers, not even a 1-to-1 ratio of tamer to Digimon. Everything about the Vital Brace system is encouraging you to tame as many Digimon as you can, and then some.
It's especially interesting because we mentioned that back in episode 1, and that was way before we discovered Ravel's blog. And when we found their blog, the original origin of Digimon was that there are researchers that wanted to get Digimon in as many people's hands so that they could research them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the Digimon Lab, which was used to
Digilab.
further that research. And then we have now the Vital Brace, which is again in as many people's hands as possible, and the app is literally fucking called the VB Lab.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just like insane.
Mm-hmm.
I my fingers are crossed. I'm like praying to God that like we do get some kind of proper storyline with the Vital Brace. Like I know we have the manga that's like as close as we have right now, but I don't know if the manga is gonna really go off.
The manga, the Digimon Dreamers manga that we weren't sure if it was going to be anything but a gag until it literally gave form to Witch LD.
Oh, I forgot. Witch LD did show up in the manga recently. I forgot about that. Someone needs to start scanlating that, for the love of God.
Please,
it's like
scanlators.
What, 5 pages a month, right? Like,
like all we have is air live translating it.
Fucking give that man back surgery, carrying us right now.
Carrying us.
He is the only fucking person talking about that goddamn thing. Like, I'm so shocked. Like, I don't know how, like, not even, like, older, like, wasn't there a group that recently, like, retranslated V-Tamer? Like, how are they not on this? It's, like, surprising to me.
I don't know. I think, like, through, sources that are, through the grapevine, totally not, like, first-hand experience, but I've heard that, like, there's only, like, 1 chapter translated of Dreamers.
I know it
So,
takes time. I know it takes time, and it's
yeah.
hard to ask people to do it for free. But
Yeah,
I just hope
yeah.
that a group can get together and start translating it, because
Mhm.
I feel like, I mean, you're right. I forgot about that. They literally gave form to Witch Elney. So, like, if they're gonna do that, there is a possibility that we can start getting some real crazy lore stuff in that manga. And if it just gets fucking lost, like, that's gonna be
Yeah.
especially in our current digital age, current year. Like, that cannot happen. We cannot allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that needs to be, like, translated. People need to see that.
It needs to be translated.
It needs to be translated. It has to be, because especially like if they're gonna start going into some lore stuff and they're gonna like deepen, the vital brace lore, I guess you could say. We need that, because like that's the one thing that is literally the only fucking pillar missing in this current age of Digimon. Like, we have games, we have card games, we have a great anime, we have actual like VPETs and stuff. We just don't have VPET lore. That's the only thing missing right now. Is this VPET lore?
Oh god. Xana.
What?
We
What
have
is
the
it?
pet lore.
What is it? Us remaking it? Like, you know what I'm saying?
No. The localized Okay, so localized evolution is very interesting as an origin for Chimeramon. Have you heard about that, Xana?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay, so the plot of Dreamers is that there is basically the plot of Dreamers is that the Pulsemon that is the main protag's partner is from a village that has a curse on it, and that curse prevents them from evolving. So the village, and so the Pulsemon wants to get strong enough that he can evolve, and eventually develops localized evolution, which allows it to evolve its head into Bulkmon's head, its arms into Bulkmon's arms. It can evolve its legs into Runnermon's legs.
That's weird. That's cool though.
And so one of the recent chapters focused on it as a concept, as possibly being a means of how Chimeramon evolves when Jogress isn't involved. That it evolves Metal Greymon's hair, Kabuterimon's helmet, Devimon's arm, Skull Greymon's arm.
Wow, that's kind of scary. That makes Chimeramon more of a terrifying like entity than it was already.
Yeah. Like the possibility that rather than being artificially created by hodgepodging the data together, that Digimon have reached the point that they can just naturally do that, and oh, what's this? The BE is removing Jogress from its system?
Oh, you're right.
And when we already have capture data, which suggests that Digimon like male Bergermon evolves directly into Metal Greymon 2010 instead of the Jogress system that would better reflect its origin as a cross-based Digimon. Yeah, it could theoretically localize evolution Mugendramon data into becoming Millenniummon.
Yeah. Forgot that the B is gonna be weird, because like there's a lot of things I'm happy it added, but like there's some things that it took away that I'm like, what? Like there's no versus dim, which I get that we have the app now, so like that is cool. But I do wish there was some way to fight in person.
Yeah.
And no Jogressing. I'm gonna miss that a lot. Like Jogressing, like it's such a fun like.
Jogress makes sense in the sense that like the BE's system is not supposed to be as Digimon centric as we would like with the Vital Bracelet system. So it does have to, like, one of the things that they're changing is they're changing the names for vaccine, virus, and data while on the brand, so that they make sense outside of the computer context for the characters.
Oh, so wait, it's not called virus data vaccine?
No, they changed it to to something different. I couldn't make sense of what they were, but I guess we'll figure that out once we actually have them in hand.
Oh, that's weird.
And yeah, the versus dim is a good point because with the larger rosters, the previous models wouldn't be able to handle what's going on.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Plus, since we've got a better interaction system, we don't need it anymore. So why
Yeah,
make
I
a
mean,
new version for it?
Yeah, like versus battles is like all we need. I mean, like online like versus battles is really all we needed. So like,
I'm excited.
I just hope
for
there's a
that
way.
because that means that we're like, I feel like with the online versus battles, raids will really get like the needed breather. Like they'll have time to actually work on new raids again. They'll have time to look into how they can make raids more interesting. But more importantly, having something to do other than raids means that raids won't get stale as quickly as they did.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that made the raids stale is the fact that they just kept reusing. Like we've all like after this, they need to make a new one because like I feel like they've rerun everything now. Like I think Diaboromon, this is the third time.
This is the third Diaboromon raid. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the third time they rerun Diaboromon. Unless they're gonna do Black War Greymon again, just to give this a bit more time. Like I hope the next raid is gonna be something like new, because like
I imagine that the new was I'm guessing that we'll get a new raid once we actually have the pressure of developing the new battle system off, like, done and completed. Because, like, of course they're rerunning raids. They're focusing on creating an entirely new system for us right now.
That's true. And the system has to work with both the BE and the OGs. Because like,
that's another thing I found out that made me very sad.
What?
The new training system only applies to BE memories.
Oh, that's weird. So if I loaded, like, one of my older dim, I can only...
you don't, like, so basically the stat training is not available for the older dims.
Oh, I mean, I had a feeling they were going to do that, but that's fair enough. That's probably, like, because, like, the dims only have so much data on them.
Yeah.
So, I figured they were going to do something like that. I guess, I mean, hey, that might reopen a possibility of them re-releasing dim, but like as BE cards with like more Digimon and more features. So,
I sincerely hope that if they release updated BE cards, it doesn't cause us to basically lose any progress we had on the non-BE version of those Digimon. Like I would not enjoy a BE version of Impulse City if it means I don't get to keep my Impulse City voice.
Yeah. Because, like, and I will say this, because we did, you can go back and watch the VOD for episode 1. We did call this 100%. Because we were talking about it was either episode 1 or 2, I think it was 1. We were talking about the canon mega evolutions for the Ghost Game Trio. And I had mentioned that I would not be too terribly surprised if Hero's Vital Brace or Digivice broken or hurt or something, or even he just finally finds his dad, and one of the things his dad does is upgrade it.
Or
and with that upgrade,
upgrades it himself because he has been shown to be very resourceful.
Oh yeah, that too. Right.
We literally have in the Ghost Game cast the smartest set of kids we have ever had. That's true. A Digimon Pro Tag team. They are absolutely capable of modifying their own Digivices as needed.
Yeah, just if all three of them put their heads together, they can totally.
That in the flashback, there was only one Digivice on the floor. There were 3 by the time that Hero actually met Gamamon. I personally take that as Hero reverse engineered 2 Digivice Vs.
Ooh,
without even knowing what they did.
He just did it just to do it.
dumped all the information from the circuit board on the inside of the first one, uploaded it to the other two.
Yo, that would be... And I mean, like, now that you mention it, yeah, you're right, because especially, like, Hiro's super smart. Kyoshiro is also extremely smart. He literally, like, already has, like, multiple government jobs, even though he's, like, in, like, middle school. It might end up being them that upgrade them. But even so, like, we mentioned, we were like, they're probably going to upgrade the Digivice V. You know, it'll be like whatever, it'll be like the, you know, the D-Arc Ultimate, and then with that upgrade, they'll release new dim cards that'll actually have like the full rosters with the actual canon final evolutions, and the ones that were just kind of shown to us in the OG dim cards were just like other options or just other thematic evolutions, which I do want to talk about this real quick because this is something I'm thinking of making a video on it, but I'm not really too sure because I'm still trying to figure out what the other two would evolve into. But I kind of already have an idea of what Angoromon's final evolution is going to be like.
Oh?
So with Angoromon, his whole theming so far has been very Beauty and the Beast-esque.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, Angoromon, he's like huge, fluffy, but he's like a gentle giant. Then he evolves into Simba Angoromon, who's very like princely. He kind of looks like a servant, and he loves Ruli. Like that's like his whole thing, and he wants to protect her. And so, his ultimate that we just recently saw is this like complete beast. Like he's extremely feral. And, like, it comes from, again, like, his want to protect Ruli. Mm-hmm. So, what I think is going to happen is I think his final evolution, his mega evolution, is actually not going to be, it's not going to be anthropomorphic at all. It's going to be, like, fully human. Like, it's going to be fully humanoid, and he's going to be, like, the prince. He's finally been, like, you know, like, cured of his, like, his curse, essentially. So it's gonna be like at the end of Beauty and the Beast, where like the beast becomes like human again. I think that's what his final evolution is gonna be. It's gonna be some kind of like human prince-like or like knight-like Digimon that is like fully human, not any type of like, maybe he'll have some kind of reference to Angoromon on him or a bunny on him, but I think he's gonna be like fully human to kind of like, again, like finish that story where it's like the Beauty and the Beast, like he's become like after completely becoming this beast in order to like protect Ruli.
Cypher, I was about to say the same thing.
What?
Rabbit Duffmon.
So Rabbit Duffmon. There you go. Yeah. Fucking yeah. Absolutely. He's gonna be like Rabbit Duffmon. Or like
I really like the idea of if he has this Beauty and the Beast theme, that they end up giving him a form changing, like a mode change.
Yeah,
like
I would love that. Like
I've been saying since day one, since we saw Lemortmon, Duftmon is the perfect mega for Angoromon. Because
I'm down for that.
It has the kind of knight vibe that like Angoromon has wielded a sword, is canonically is like very interested in like researching. He likes to learn more. He loves to read books.
Mm-hmm.
He very much is the cool-headed one of the Digimon.
Yeah.
Everything about him lines up perfectly with being the tactician of the Royal Knights. Not to mention the fact
oh yeah,
that the dichotomy between his champion and perfect forms and the dichotomy between his normal personality versus his perfect form's design so perfectly implies the shift between beast and man that basically you only ever see in a werewolf. And so what better way to do that than have a Digimon that either has a kind of Jekyll and Hyde aspect to it, or to just straight up take a Digimon that already has the ability to transform between beast mode and humanoid mode. That
it doesn't make.
Doesn't
that make Duffmon the first like? Doesn't that make Duffmon the first Slide evolution?
What are you talking about? Duffmon came out after Slide Evolution.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Frontier
I thought he was
debuted
introduced
the
before.
concept of the Royal Knights, my dude.
Oh, did it? Like, actually fully... Because I know, like... No, the Royal Knights did exist before in the X Evolution movie, but Duffmon wasn't on the team yet.
Yeah. Well, X Evolution was after Frontier.
Was that after Frontier?
Yeah.
I thought it was before Frontier. Holy shit. Damn. I got my timeline messed up. I thought it was before Frontier. Holy shit. Damn.
That said, though, I'm now looking up when Duffmon debuted, so I can be right about this.
I'm pretty sure you're right. I am like 100% sure you're right.
See, the fact that we both think I'm right makes it significantly more likely that I'm wrong.
Whatever way that you're not right. But yeah, that's my theory, at least for definitely Angoromon's Final Evolution. It's going to be something like that, because that's been his whole...
Yes, Duffmon came out in
gimmick.
2007.
So that was... Wait, that's after then?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. It's like way after. Yeah, I think as far as like Jellymon, it's gonna be some kind of like, because they're already going with like kind of like a goddess motif for her, so I guess like her final evolution is just gonna go full on with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
'Cause
the
isn't- that is-
interesting thing about all of this is that like we have to a degree the idea in the form of the what's the word I'm looking for? We have to a degree perfect, like, okay, so they didn't add Duftmon for some reason to Angoromon's dim, but Marine Angemon could work pretty well as a Kyoshiro Mega.
Oh yeah.
Ancient Mermaimon perfectly captures the vibe you were just talking about for Jellymon.
Yeah.
Gamamon, both Chaosdramon and Aegistramon work so perfectly for.
Oh yeah.
Honestly,
especially
I would...
considering,
Mm-hmm.
especially considering that like we've pretty much deduced that like the crack team is going to be involved in some way, shape, or form in the show, and I'm pretty sure Gamamon is a man-made Digimon. I don't think they're naturally occurring.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, and I think we mentioned this last time too. Like their typing being virus also makes sense in that sense because like Guilmon's also like that, where like Guilmon is a man-made Digimon. They were a virus type because they're dangerous. Like Gamamon's the same, gives the same vibes, and even the fact that like he straight up said like, "Hey, this is your brother." Like he didn't say this is your partner. He's like, "This is your brother," which implies that he made him. And so like with all that, him having crack team Mega evolutions makes total sense because like technically, especially now if we're saying SBmon's a member of the crack team, like I wouldn't be surprised if like by the end of the series they confirm that Gamamon is also a member of the crack team.
Yeah.
Or at least like Gulu's Gamamon.
Yeah, 100%. With that said, we're pretty close to the time you said you had to wrap up, right?
Oh yeah, we are. Oh shit.
Yeah. Alright, so, well, as we said, I hope you all enjoyed our launching of our consciousness into the blind eternities beyond the universe itself. And we shall continue this series in the future. I also am personally going to look into the possibility of starting to stream on other days with different things to talk about or play, as can't just keep riding solely on Monspiracy. But yeah, until then, we shall see you all next time.
Bye everyone.
Bye!